Dan, I noticed something very odd this week, and I just want to share it with you.
Oh boy, um, my mind is going in 100 directions right now where this could go.
It was very odd, and
Uh-oh.
it also reminds me of my one friend Mike. I used to work with this guy. We traveled all over the country together, and he had he would wear this leather coat, and like in the fall and the winter. I mean, it was just a normal looking leather coat, but man, it squeaked whenever he would move, it squeaked like my old 1977 F-150. Just squeak, 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 squeak. He would like move his arms and the coat would squeak. And I always called him Squeaky Coat. And that just annoyed him. And he says, "You're weird," he said. I go, "What am I weird for?" He says, "Because you notice things that normal people don't notice," he said.
No, you just bring them up. Everyone notices, just that nobody else will say anything.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, "You're calling me weird. You're making birds chirp when you walk down the street with your coat on. What the heck?" Yeah, but anyhow, I had to drive my wife's car the other day. I had to drive it into town. And it was one of these early mornings in the fall, and like the car is just covered in dew. The
Yeah.
windshields, the windows, everything. And it was such a heavy dew that when I first started the car up and turned on the windshield wipers, it was just most satisfying swipe of the wipers. It just totally cleaned off the windshield, and then there was like the outline of the dew, where
Oh
the
yes.
wipers
Yep.
don't touch, almost like the bat signal, up in the air
Yep.
had that little point in the middle. Okay, so the wipers went fine, but I then noticed I couldn't see out the side windows. If I was coming up to an intersection, I wouldn't be able to see if a car is coming. So I roll down the driver's side window, power window, and then I power the window back up, and there was no dew removed from the windshield. It just went straight down into the door and came all the way back up, and there was no squeegee effect from
Mm,
like the seals, that are at the base of the window on your
yep.
car. It didn't squeegee the glass.
Didn't clean it off.
There was nothing. And I was thinking, what the heck is this? What are we making cars that don't where the seals don't squeegee off? What the heck? I mean, I think that this was a big deal. It was the weird thing that I had noticed. There are cars out there that I don't know. I mean, what the heck? My trucks, I roll down the window, I roll it back up, the window's clean, like I just squeegeed it at the gas station. I can see my mirror and see everything fine.
Maybe there was so much dew that when it went down and then came back up, the dew just went right back onto the window.
No, no, it literally did not touch the seal as
Huh.
the window went down into the door. And that's just the way the car was made. It doesn't squeegee the glass. And that just, it ruined my day.
Sell it.
I don't know.
Put it up for sale.
I couldn't even work the rest of the day. I had to go back inside and sit on the couch. I
Yeah,
was just
take the
so
day
upset.
off.
Yeah. I profess to you right now, Dan, that when I am elected dictator, the first thing I'm going to do is mandate that all cars' side windows can squeegee the glass.
Must squeegee the
You heard it.
glass.
You heard it here. Yeah, you heard it here first. That's rule number one.
So, in other words, every
Oh,
intersection you came to, you had your windows down, and then you'd have to drive
yeah.
through. You had to leave them open.
Serious.
Yep.
You had to roll your window down to see out the window. Or I mean, what the heck? You could get out and wipe it off with a Taco Bell napkin, that fell under the seat. What it just is one of those things that you just take for granted. That's just the way cars are. You roll the window down, all of the dew comes off the glass, but not on this car.
Nope. Well, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I'd get that thing replaced ASAP.
Well, yet somehow I found the strength to go on.
Wow, that's
And here we are.
and here we are.
Yeah. So we have a ice scraper in each vehicle, but we haven't used them yet. We haven't had any. I saw the other morning there was just like a little patch of looked like frost on the grass, like out in the middle of the yard, but it wasn't everywhere. It's just kind of odd. But we haven't had that cold snap yet. We haven't even really had a frost yet.
Oh,
here
we
in
have up
Northeast
here,
Ohio.
and
Have you?
it was nice because it cooled off. I've got the wood boiler going, so it's I'm heating, burning wood. We had cold mornings, and then all of a sudden this past weekend we're back in the upper 70s, near 80, and
Yeah.
just I don't know what's going on with the weather.
That is what we have down here too. We're looking at a week of 80s, and
Yeah,
we're in late October. And yesterday evening, I was working on my truck when it was starting to get dark out. I was getting bit by mosquitoes.
I had the same thing happen to me this past weekend. I have mosquito bites on my ankles. I'm like, why am I sitting here itching and scratching a
Yeah.
mosquito bite in the middle? Yeah, near the end of October. Crazy.
Yeah. I think the human condition, we are hardwired with behaviors that all depend on the weather and the seasons. And my sales for October are strong, but they're not like way out there like I thought we were going to have, because I was pretty good last month. I'm pretty average this month. But I also noticed too, my own woodshed is nowhere full as it was this time last year either. So if people aren't buying their firewood right now, maybe because it's like this weather induced motivation, the same thing goes for me. And I'm the professional firewood service, and my own woodshed's pretty thin right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the same with I've got my woodshed full, but I have all kinds of stuff lined up that I'm just in this mindset of I'm gonna wait for it to cool off, and then I'm gonna start getting to work in the wood yard, cutting up these logs, splitting firewood, doing all that stuff. It just doesn't seem to ever cool off. It's just like we're still in summer. It's
Yeah,
just
it's not
ridiculous.
it is not cooling off. It is it's like summertime out. But the
Yeah.
leaves are in like full turn right now. They look beautiful. This is a
Oh yeah.
beautiful time of the year though.
Yeah, it looks like fall. It looks like the end of
Uh-huh.
summer. It definitely doesn't feel like it. And yeah, I agree. I think people's mindset just they're not reminded that, oh yeah, I need firewood for this upcoming winter because it hasn't been cold yet.
I totally agree. And I take pride in my customer base. They're not the ones that really heat with wood, but I still think that there is that biological signal that we get when we get this blast of cold, and people start turning their sights to their fireplace or to their wood stove. They want to have that nice smell of smoke in their house,
Yes. Yep.
that waft of smoke when they go outside into the yard to rake leaves, and it's just not there this year. It just seems, in the famous lyrics of the great band Stone Temple Pilots, that so much depends on the weather. Huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the downside of being a firewood supplier is that when people are hit with that reminder, you can easily get overwhelmed, and then you're not able to meet the demand of everyone calling you, and then those people move on to someone else. So it's kind of like it's tough to, I guess, balance that. Like, do you really should you be anticipating to make deliveries like 24/7 for the moment that the weather turns cold? I mean, that's tough to
Right.
keep up with. So I don't know. I'm glad I'm just a hobbyist.
Yes. Well, I make a living with my firewood, and that's how we keep food on the table, and we keep the house. But it just seems that so much depends on the weather. With this blast of cold, I don't sell to people that heat with wood, because they're cheap like me. They don't want to spend a lot of
Yeah,
money
they
on
want a
firewood.
deal.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I try to avoid people like me, and I go to people that can appreciate smaller quantities, high quality stuff, a truck that won't leak, well, depending on which truck I use, won't leak oil on their driveway, or antifreeze or transmission fluid. It depends on which truck I'm driving that day. And it just, I don't know, Dan, it's like it's the weather. It's the weather. It's not even the seasons right now, because it's, what the heck, we're almost into November and it's summertime outside.
Right. Yeah. And like I mentioned, for me, it's just the getting in that mindset and the making the firewood, like getting stuff made for my own personal use. Like I just don't feel like at the end of the day when I'm done with my day job and it's 80 degrees out, going out and splitting firewood, even though this is the time of the year that generally is the best time to do it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you sell a different style of firewood. It's called small firewood. They're about, I don't know, 6 inches long, maybe like big Jenga pieces kind of sizes.
Yes.
And you're new at it. You don't have a full year behind you, but have you noticed any trends or a pace or regions or type of customers, male, female, anything like that? Are you starting to see your market?
No. It's been
Yeah,
all over the board. This
sure.
past week, I sent a box out to Arizona. First time
Yeah.
to Arizona.
All right.
But yeah, I was kind of thinking, maybe with this fall season now, when things kind of do start cooling off, people might be more inclined to sit out on their patio in the evening and enjoy a little tabletop fire pit experience. But it's
Uh-huh.
just been all over the place. It's
Have you gone the extra step um, to type in the address that you're mailing it to? Have you typed it into like Google Satellite, Google Earth, just to see the kind of neighborhood, if it's townhomes or apartments? Have you
oh,
gone to that
see,
length of creeping yet?
no, I have not. I haven't even considered that. That is a very good idea. I've just been
Yeah.
yeah, no, I haven't done that. I
I'm
should
an
though.
ideas guy, Dan. I am an
That
ideas guy. Yeah, I
yes.
would be curious because you look at like Airbnbs or these apartment complexes or these townhomes, and it isn't for you of just hitting on the individual people who own a place, but there's these companies own a lot of these townhomes and these apartment retirement communities and all,
Yes.
and that could be an in if you are the approved firewood supplier for one of these neighborhoods.
Yeah. No, I should do that. That is a very good idea. That's Joe, once again, you amaze me with your insight and your intellect into the business mind. It's just
Yeah.
yeah, I need to.
Well, a lot of people think that I get by with my good looks, but I'm here to tell you,
That definitely is not the case.
well, my mom always said I was good looking, so we'll go
Yeah.
with that. All right. Yeah, I this you're hitting on a belief that I've always had. Well, I guess I figured it out. Now I will always retain it, that it is easy to sell firewood. Maybe not necessarily for small firewood like you, but it's easy to sell firewood and you really don't even have to do anything. But the way I see you, you are developing a market, a new and exciting universe of new firewood customers. And it's not just a matter of just selling your wood, but it's an opportunity for you to earn a customer for life and repeat sales and referrals and the like. And yeah, I don't know. I think for you, I'm not into spending money, but there are services out there that do market research to see who's buying and where the others are. But I think you could probably start doing some of that yourself by digging into who's buying your stuff.
Yeah, the what I have done and in the realm of market research is I have I have looked at the areas that I've been selling to, and then I've been kind of keeping a track of the cost of shipping because my price of my mini firewood includes shipping, so there's free shipping. But I have been looking at where in the country is the cheapest to ship to, and then starting to target that area for like more, like maybe online marketing or email marketing. Just because for me, if I can ship to Minneapolis for a lower cost than shipping to California, I would want to target Minneapolis instead of California because then I would just
Yeah.
be making a little bit more extra profit.
And you could do that through buying an ad on Facebook or
Yes.
Google. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. I've been looking into like the online, like Facebook marketing and through Google, and they have just a lot of these new AI driven tools that will change where your ad is being served based on, who's clicking on it. So you can start with like
Yeah.
a target audience, and then as you progress, each day goes by, if certain people are clicking on your ad, it looks at their interests, and then it starts serving your ad to more people with those interests. So it's really an interesting, and I mean, there's just so much to learn about it, but you can really start to target very specific individual markets.
And you could like really get into the weeds with income,
Yep.
household income, right?
Yep.
And I also understand. Now, I don't know if this is true, but maybe you can tell me that some of these online ads that you can buy, I mean, you can like tailor it to where it doesn't run until the temperature hits 40 degrees, that kind of
Correct.
stuff.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different variables you can set. And then now, like I said, it kind of will adjust to whoever's interest you're grabbing. So if you let's say target, people with a certain income level, and maybe you're into like wine and, you know, gardening, and all the people that start clicking on your ad have a different interest, like say barbecuing. Also, now they're going to take that ad and start serving it to a different target audience. So it's
Would you
pretty interesting.
target customers? Would you target customers who are interested in professional wrestling?
Probably not. Probably not on that
or
one. No.
or washed up professional wrestlers? Would you target those customers?
Yes. No, that's not the demographic I'm seeking.
Yeah. So I am on the outside looking in with you, and this came up the other day about receiving and accepting feedback or observations from like disinterested people. It was kind of like my truck. My truck was always making this noise, and it wasn't until I took someone on a ride and they were saying, "My gosh, sounds like your truck is falling apart." And it's some things are just right underneath your nose and you don't notice it.
Yeah.
So here's someone like me. I'm just saying, I recognize what you're doing, but I don't have any interest. It's just not my thing, small firewood. But I am looking at your market and I'm looking at the opportunity that is in front of you because yours is not a defined market. Kind of like the way I feel the same with value added firewood in my region. It, people always say, well, I can't sell firewood like you, Joe, because there's no market for it. And I would always say, well, that is probably true because there was no market in my region because no one would ever deliver firewood to that market. So there was no demand because there was no supply. If
Correct.
you
Yep.
start making it, and start targeting certain demographics, I think you can really knock it out of the park. And I think, Dan, I get excited when I see what you're doing because it's new, it's innovative, it's creative, and you're building your own market. And
Yes.
I think now
Trying to.
start, but just yeah. But I would also say don't get into the habit of just selling by accident. I really think you can target and drive, man.
Yes. And one of the things I have this past week, I have signed up, Joe, to be an exhibitor at the Home and Garden Show in Minneapolis next
Oh
March.
wow,
Yeah,
no
it's
kidding.
pretty exciting. 5 days.
Yeah,
They said last year their highest attended day had 50,000 people.
holy mackerel.
Yes. So I I could
Wow. So
potentially,
you're going to be selling your firewood and your firewood racks. I think you need
yes.
to start looking at getting branded fire pits.
I have thought about that, and I'm looking into
I
it. It's tough.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah. Because,
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm going to tell you. So
yes,
go
I
ahead.
know. I know.
Let's let's hear your excuse.
Well, no, but I'm looking into that, but I was always thinking about, like the Paul Bunyan show, for example. If you go to a show like that, like you're catering to like people who make firewood, and that's not who my target audience is. So then I
I
just was
agree.
looking around and I'm like, home and garden shows, people who have a patio, people who are into gardening, that's like the target audience. So I did a little
Yep.
more research and found this home and garden show in Minneapolis. It's like one of the biggest ones in the country. I contacted the lady, filled out the contract, and I am in booth 1819.
Oh, wow. So you have your own booth. You need to start. You gotta brand.
I
You gotta
know.
have signage.
I've been looking
You
all
got to get it
weekend
going, man.
at 10 by 10, expo shows,
Uh-huh.
set up booths, table covers, banners, signs. Oh my God, it's
Uh,
crazy.
I have a guy for you too. He's a customer of mine. Let's talk
Oh, really?
offline here and I'll get you hooked up with him. Yeah. Yeah, I hope you're not showing up with a foldable white card table with magic marker typing paper with duct tape taping it to the table.
Well, I spent a whole afternoon reading through the contract and all the different stipulations, and you cannot have hand printed signs. You cannot have every table needs a covering. I have to put down a carpet or a pad on the floor, 10 by 10 space. I can't have anything on the floor. So there's all these little details now I'm starting to learn about as far as being an exhibitor.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you go all out. I think you have a wine bottle display,
Yep.
some cutlery over here, something that would be on a high-end patio. There you go. Even like have some pavers stacked on your table, to give the appearance of some outdoor
Living space.
stove.
Yep.
Yeah, there you are. Uh-huh.
Yep. And I'm going to have like little crepe paper flames with a little fan inside the stove blowing like fake flames up. So it looks like, so it looks like there's a fire going. And yeah, I've got all kinds of ideas. I just got to now start making it happen.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're going to have to sell a lot I would imagine that space is pretty expensive.
Well, it wasn't too bad. And, that's the whole thing is yes, I would love to be able to sell a whole bunch of boxes of wood, but I think the bigger thing is just getting that awareness of people who will then potentially become a repeat customer through my online web store, my website.
Yeah. Yeah. When I first got started, I bought a space at a farmer's market and I had my bundled firewood there. And it was fun, but I left it thinking this ain't right for me. I'll never do this again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that was when I did my hard pivot to restaurants instead of, targeting the condominium communities out there.
Yes. Yeah.
Uh-huh. But I'm just saying that you are going to have a lot of observations and you're going to learn a lot from doing that. I think that's money well spent.
Yeah, that's my goal is to take it in and see what I can learn, and then hopefully, like I said, come away with some new customers.
And it's indoors, and you don't have to worry about the rain and the cold.
Right.
I like it.
Regardless of whatever is happening in March, it could end up being, who knows, with the way weather is now.
Yeah, because we all know that so much depends on the weather.
That is correct.
Yeah. All right, Dan. Well, that's exciting. And the fall is exciting. This 80-degree late October week is, I don't know, kind of exciting.
No.
And it's well, we got deliveries to make and we got a business to run. So
yes.
How about we strike up the band?
All right. And tell everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks for making us the #1 firewood podcast in the world. The Wood Hounds, each and every Wednesday morning, 5 a.m. Eastern.
That's right. And please give us a 5-star review. It helps us out with being found out there in podcast world. And let's just tell everyone to stay
safe
and get outside in the fall when the temperatures are
80 degrees.
And have
a great day.